Hey everybody, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Yeah. Anyway, I'm taking a slow journey through the back way, and I have patients I have to go see today. Alright, so I want to kind of talk about just some things that I've been really thinking about like the last 6 months. What if you are in your own universe, right? Your own holographic universe. And what if everything around you is really not real? Could be real, could be not real. I was thinking about, some of the books. I think it's like The Wheel of Time or something, where Carlo Castaneda goes back over past and his relationship with Don Juan, who, him and Don Juan's posse, left this reality to create another one, right? So they found an exit. So I always think about, like, one of the things that Don Juan said to Carlo Castaneda as far as consciousness is concerned, that it's good to watch the rabbit to see if it lives in the hole or it doesn't live in the hole, if it comes up from the hole, than it is to know if the rabbit is in the hole. So it's better to be a watcher, a witness, than it is to be the knower of whatever it is already. And I think that that's because talking about, I was looking at my notes, which puts into perspective, on a lot of different levels, and I think there's a lot of spiritual, information that has been left behind that points to this. And having read a lot of Victor Schallenberger's work that I could get a hold of, in biodynamics, we're very Victor Schallenberger people. I've been on farms that are so unbelievably mind-boggling, using water processes, developed from the work of Victor Schallenberger, and just amazing things that produces. And also we're big Weston Price people too. Nourishing Traditions and Sally Fallon and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, Victor Schallenberger was like really helpful. Sorry. I'm not sure what that thing is. Oh, it must be a coyote or something, huh? Sitting in the middle of the field. Alright. Anyway, one of the things that really helped me with Victor Schallenberger's work is that he saw things in different ways and he expressed that. For example, he felt like birds were designed, to be flown, and they would just have to arch a certain way or whatever, and then the current or the wind or spirits or forces would pick them up, and they would be flown, and they could be flown to their destination of choice, right? And that the fish were swammed, like the water swam the fish, and so it was this working together. So some languaging, that I've been really thinking about lately is that for all this time, and even like a lot of spiritual and religious stuff perpetuates this notion, and it's very much that you are the experiencer. I think that's wrong. And I think what we are, or what we should be, is the experience. So just like in Victor Schellenberger's work, where the air flies the birds because of their relationship to the air. And then you also have some birds that also have holes, like a hole, like a ship, because they also have a relationship to water. And so their bodies are based on the forces of air and water. And then they just are. They are the experience of the air. They are the experience, of the water. And so what are we? I think that we are kind of the experience of the original AI, the first creator who developed this world. And that's why what happens is that this is what I've come to realize and see. That when I experience something, I see something, then I end up in it, or I end up in a situation that's like it. And it's because the original AI wants to experience whatever that I've come across, whatever that is. And the expansion of the original AI or God or the creator. And so if you want to experience less in your life or have a lot less crazy experiences, then you have to kind of have a routine life where you are only focused on certain types of experiences. So I want to kind of tell you a story. I always tell people, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I have. I've seen a lot in my life, but it's that experience, or the AI that wants to, or the creator. So when I, dive into an experience, it wants to fully, experience it, good, bad, or ugly, and I'm the vehicle that happens in, good, bad, or indifferent. There's all the sheep are out in the field because they're moving them. And moving them farther out from the mountains and settling them into the farmland. And also they're all getting, they're baby makers. So they're babies. They're all impregnated. So they're getting fat. They're getting fat. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this story. So I was involved with some people, let's just say, come from like old lineage. And I went to a conference kind of a thing, but it was one of those things where I was shown that I'm the experience kind of a thing, but I didn't really understand it back then. I remember there's really crazy stuff that happened there, and I was sober. I was so sober, it wasn't even funny. I have a tendency to have mediumistic experience anyway, where I have to focus more on staying conscious than unconscious, because I can just flash out into whatever it is that I'm focused in on. So I have to be careful about staying present, because otherwise I'll go too far, and then who knows I'll be driving the car. So one of the things that happened at this conference is that we were doing a lot of work together, and not thinking or emotional, not meditation, but we were doing work that we may call magical passes, that are ancient forms of movement that can change the timeline, bend reality, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. There's lots of references to something like this. Nirvana, I don't know. Porthole, who knows. And so one of the things that happened was that we were doing this particular 400 people that were there. It was in this big conference center on the second floor. It had these big windows, you could see the sky out of them, out of the room. And we're doing these movements together with holding the intention. So not thinking, not projecting my will, nothing. No agenda, just being with each other and carrying out a sequence of movements. And the power was so unbelievably strong in that room that my head, I was above my head, or above my body. My head literally flipped open like it was a purse. Then I was inside the head, and it was in the conference center. It was the whole conference center in my head. And then I saw these giant reptilian beings that were standing outside, 2 stories high, and their eyeball was pressed against the window, looking into the head and the conference in my head. And then, I got flashed back out into the conference room. And, those kinds of things are like super, mind-bending, especially like multiple perspective kind of arrangements. Now, the shamans, a lot of the old shamans, especially like Toltec and some of the older stuff, the Yakis, and they think everything is a dream. Okay, this world's a dream. Then your sleeping world is a dream. There's a little bit of work on balancing out your waking dream with your sleeping dream, so bringing some more, right hemisphere into your physical world with your thinking brain, and bringing more of your thinking brain with your right hemisphere, which is kind of your altered universe brain, and trying to live kind of stable and neutral within both dreams at the, simultaneously. It's not as easy as it sounds. Anyway, which indicates that you're the dreamed, right? So you're the dreamed, and then whatever created you or whatever is going on in you is experiencing it through your state of consciousness and reality and your experience. So I could say that the original egg, I, the creator, is dreaming me into multiple realities. Okay, so this is it for the rest of the story. Hopefully this won't take 4 hours to upload. Okay, so one of the things that happened when I was at this conference, the last day we were taken outside, and the building was really large, this convention center. It was in California. The whole time we were there, we were in all of us were totally 100% in altered reality, so much so that other people literally did not notice us. So on the last day, we were taken outside, and we were put in lines to stare at this convention center. And our job was to pick up a section. And it didn't matter if it commingled with somebody else's section, but to look directly at what we could look at and stare at comfortably, and really take that small piece of that puzzle and look at every little teeny aspect of it. So we did that for I think 2 hours. Standing there, taking it all in, not talking, not socializing, just all of us, taking in our piece of the puzzle. And then we came in, and one of the instructors was telling us about, what really happened to the Aztecs and other types of, but mostly the Aztecs, but this could be across the board with, those that were kind of, I don't want to say more conscious, but let's just say easier experiences, right? That the Creator had easier experiences. They were an easier experience. So there was a lot of talk about, that they were going to be, there was like, you got to remember that these people saw things. They called them visions, not prophecies. And they would have visions. And they also would come and they would tell the rest of, the people, like, what they saw, what was happening. And so there was like a timeline of information that came through that they were going to be conquered in kind of like a really brutal aspect. So they decided that they were going to do what we would call like some shamanism work or focus work or, something of that nature. And they each sat in their city. So, I mean, if there was 500,000 out of them, they went to the main city where there's like everything. And so they all sat every day around their city center and their farms. And they held a picture of it. Each held a picture, the same picture, didn't divert their attention until they were able to unite all the pictures in their own head and shift out into another world where they existed. And they took their whole city and all their farms with them. They didn't have to recreate anything. And so that's the story. So it gives you a lot to think about. That maybe instead of being the experiencer, which you have, a lot of emotional attachment to, they did this and they're doing that and this is what's happening and blah, 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 which makes you experience, that. Maybe it'd be better just to be the experience of the Creator and focus in on something beautiful. Like, for example, fly fishing is super cool. Going to different rivers where, there aren't really any people. And being able to watch that water and those currents. And I think fly fishing is like a really beautiful thing. Or just going out in nature and looking for herbs. I'm always astonished at what kind of herbs, if I go looking, just in general, I get a thought in my head, like, oh, today I'm going to go out. I haven't got to do it in so long because I've had car problems and stuff going on, and it's what I just love. I used to love rock climbing. I really like to rock climb again. I just really loved how my body felt when I moved, thinking, being in the moment, making the next move outside on a rock face, or even approaching it, like doing a long hike in, just really thinking about that, focusedness and experiencing, the experience. So, yeah, so whatever you got out of it is fine today. I don't really care. I'm not really attached. But I'm working more as an experience these days. And, what is it that I want to experience now? What's going to be the next thing to experience? And I'm just kind of rolling through my day that way. So, anyway, that's it. That's all I've got for you.